Generally, any structure which can guide an electromagnetic energy is called as a waveguide. So this is the definition of a waveguide. Any structure which can guide an electromagnetic energy, that can be called as a waveguide. But generally this word waveguide is reserved for a hollow metallic bounded structures. As you know that you have different transmission lines. In case of a TEM, we have two conductor parallel, two conductor coaxial, but they are guiding an electromagnetic energy, but we generally don't say as a waveguides, because the waveguide is a reserved word for hollow metallic structures. Anyway, waveguide is a type of a transmission line, but generally whenever you say it is a waveguide, so that is generally used for a hollow metallic structure. Okay, with this basic information about waveguide, now you know that you have a rectangular waveguide. Generally you use it in a microwave lab, or may have a circular waveguide. Directly starting with a specific shape of a waveguide, in today's class we'll develop a generalized approach irrespective of the shape of a waveguide. General approach. So whether it is rectangular or a circular, this approach is applicable. Now we have an arbitrary shape of a waveguide, and we are considering the simplest coordinate system, a rectangular coordinate system, x, y, and z. For the generality principle, we assume that wave is traveling in positive z direction. So the wave is traveling in positive z direction. So the direction in which wave is traveling is called as a longitudinal direction. So this is the direction called as longitudinal direction, and the direction which is perpendicular to this is called as transverse direction. Now, any field component lying in this direction will be called as a longitudinal field direction. Any field component will be lying in this plane or in this direction will be called as transverse field component. What I mean here, from our previous class, we can resolve electric or magnetic field. Since wave is propagating through this particular waveguide, and this wave is electromagnetic wave which is made up by electric and magnetic fields, so we know that E can be resolved as its components in the direction x, y, and z. Okay. Similarly, H can be resolved as its components in x, y, and z. Now, the direction of propagation is z direction. So Ez and Hz are the longitudinal field components, whether Ex, Ey and Hx, Hy are transverse field components. So one can write electric and magnetic fields. E is equal to E transverse plus Ez z, and H is equal to H transverse plus Hz. This E transverse is actually a vector quantity and lies in xy plane. Similarly, H transverse is a vector quantity again lying in xy plane. Ez and Hz are the scalar quantities. So you can strictly say E transverse is equal to Exx EYY, and H transverse is HXX HYY. So this is what we have written for electric and magnetic fields. Now let us write for a special operator in longitudinal and transverse form, which is a del. Del is a special operator. Again, you can write it in terms of del transverse plus del by del z of z. Because you know del is equal to, in Cartesian coordinate system, it is del by del x of x, del by del y of y, plus del by del z of z. So this thing is actually a del transverse because that is in xy plane and this is in the direction of wave propagation longitudinal. So del can be always expressed in its transverse and longitudinal component form. Now it's time to use one Maxwell's equation. Using Maxwell's equation, we will be using the equation del cross E is equal to minus j omega mu h. Because you know you have four Maxwell's equations: del dot D equal to rho v, del dot B equal to 0, del cross E equal to minus del B by del T, and del cross H is equal to del D by del T. If it is a source free, so there is no current density, so no total current, J is not there. Similarly, you can modify, if there are no charges, there will be no charge density, so that will become 0. So in that case, now what we have written is a phasor form of Maxwell's equation. So to come to that equation, we can write E or H can be written as its magnitude and variation with respect to frequency, angular frequency, and time. If you take its time derivative, which is actually the case here, if you take its time derivative, maybe electric or in case of your magnetic field, you can do that, will be j omega E0 e raised to j omega t. So this thing is actually what? E. So j omega into E. So whenever you take the time derivative of electric or magnetic field, it will get multiplied by j omega. And this B is, you know, B is equal to mu into H. So this is used. So B is equal to mu into H, and del by del T is j omega. So del cross E can be always written as minus j omega mu H. Okay. Now substitute for E and H from what we have written here in form of transverse and longitudinal components, and also substitute for del in terms of transverse and longitudinal components. So it is like this. This is del cross E is equal to H is now just opening the brackets and solving. Now, we would like to separate transverse and longitudinal terms from this equation. So let us use the knowledge of cross product and determine whether the term is longitudinal or transverse term, because we wanted to separate the longitudinal and transverse terms. Why we will be doing that, you will come to know that just after some time. Let us use the knowledge of cross product. If you have two vectors, so the cross product can be like this. Okay. Now this is the result of the cross product of two vectors A and B. You can see here, any cross product with Z, any cross product with Z, that will lie into XY plane, you see. And the cross product between transverse terms will lie into longitudinal plane. So applying this knowledge, now we have two transverse terms. So obviously this resultant cross product will lie into longitudinal plane. If you have two transverse terms, its resultant cross product will lie into a longitudinal plane. So the first term will be a longitudinal term. Longitudinal term. Similarly, we have to write for remaining terms whether they will transverse or longitudinal. The second term, we have a cross product with Z. So any cross product with Z will always lie in a transverse plane. So this term, second term, is a transverse term. The cross product will lie in transverse plane. So this is transverse term. Again, here we have a cross product with Z. So this is a transverse term, will lie into transverse term. The term where we have a cross product between two longitudinal components. So now, because you have a definition for cross product is that if you have A cross B, that is AB sine theta of between them, sine of the angle between them. If you are in this, means both the vectors are in this having 0 degrees of angle, so sine 0 will be 0, and identically this term will become 0. So what we get after writing for these transverse and longitudinal terms, and if I will be writing for transverse terms only, so I can always write from this minus j omega mu h transverse minus j omega mu h transverse is equal to the transverse term is del transverse EZZ plus del by del ZZ cross E transverse. Del transverse cross EZZ plus del by del Z cross E transverse. Now, this is what we have got We have ignored the longitudinal components and written for transverse terms. From this, we can write for H transverse. H transverse is equal to minus 1 over j omega mu del transverse cross EZZ plus del by del ZZ cross E transverse. Now we have used one Maxwell's equation and obtained H transverse. Now you can use another Maxwell's equation using other Maxwell's equation, which is for H now. Del cross H is equal to j omega epsilon E, and following the same steps you can come to E transverse is 1 over j omega epsilon del transverse cross HZ plus del by del Z cross H transverse. So what we have obtained? We have obtained for H transverse and E transverse. So actually they are the transverse field components for magnetic and electric fields. Let us call this as equation A and this as B. Now we'll solve it further. So just rewrite equation B. Taking transverse term to the left hand side. So above equation can be written like this. Now use the value of H transverse from equation A. Above equation will become so we have substituted for H transverse from equation A. Now to solve this, we'll take the longitudinal term from left hand side to the right hand side. So to the left we will have transverse terms only, and to the right we have longitudinal terms only. So this is the longitudinal term, we'll be taking it to the right side. And this term will be taking to the right side. That is minus del transverse cross Ez z. So this is actually minus minus will become plus. Now you have this equation. Let us multiply both the sides of this equation by minus j omega mu. So this will be j into j will be j square. J square is minus, minus minus will be plus. Omega into omega will be omega square mu epsilon E transpose. Okay, minus j omega mu, and this j omega mu will be cancelled out, and the minus sign will be there. So del by del z z cross del by del z z cross E transpose is equal to minus j omega mu del transverse cross HZZ. Minus minus will become plus. J omega mu will be cancelled out. Del by del z cross del transverse cross EZZ. Now we have reached to the important point of this derivation, and look at these terms from left hand and right hand side. Actually we have a vector triple product. If you consider this is A, B and C, this is vector triple product. To the right hand side also we have three vectors are multiplied together. So the term this term del by del z z cross z cross E transpose. Let us consider this as A, B and C, and you can use the vector triple product identity A cross B cross C. So this identity is A dot C into B minus A dot B into C. So use this identity. So A dot C is del by del z z dot C E transpose into B. So it is del by del z of z minus A dot B. So del by del z z dot del by del z z into C E transpose. Now use the knowledge of dot product, because dot product is A dot B is equal to AB cos theta AB. Theta is the angle between two vectors. So it is cos theta AB. So when you say that it is the dot product, so cos of this term, because this is longitudinal and this will be transverse, so they have 90-degree angle between them. and you know cos of 90 is 0. So this dot product will be, or this term will be identically 0. So this term will reduce as to, this term will reduce as to minus this one, del square by del z square of E transverse. Now we'll try to write for this term also using the same procedure, same vector triple product identity. The term del by del z z cross del transverse cross Ez z is equal to, this will be A, this will be B, and this will be C. So it is del by del z z dot Ez z, A dot C into B del transverse, minus del by del z z dot del transverse Ez z. Now this time you can easily point it out that second term will be identically 0. So this will reduces to del transverse del Ez by del z. Now rewrite this equation. Now rewrite this equation by you replacing the term 1 and term 2 with del square by del z square E transverse and del transverse del Ez by del z. So what it becomes, we get omega square mu epsilon E transverse plus del square by del z square E transverse equal to minus j omega mu del transverse cross HZZ plus del transverse del Ez by del z. Now, before proceeding further, let us try to recall your electric field and magnetic fields are the function of your propagation constant. So this is function of your propagation constant, and if it is a traveling wave, that will be a minus gamma. And if you take its z derivative, so you can easily write, if you take the z derivative of maybe E or H field, so it will get multiplied by minus gamma. If you take one more z derivative, so it will again get multiplied by minus gamma. So actually del square by del z square will be gamma square. So we would like to replace this del square by del z square by gamma square, and this del by del z by minus gamma. Okay, we will do that. But before that, why we are doing all this thing? What we have done up till now, we have used basic vector knowledge. We have used the knowledge of dot and cross product. We have used two Maxwell's equations, and we have used one vector triple product identity. Ultimately, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to obtain the equations for transverse field components. But you may ask a question, why we are trying to obtain the equations for transverse field components? So let me answer that. You know, your electric field and magnetic fields can be resolved like this. So if you have an electromagnetic wave, can you tell me how many field components you have in total? Look at these two equations. Your wave, EM wave, is made up of electric and magnetic field. And if you say that you have an electromagnetic wave, can you tell me how many field components you have there? So 3 field components for electric field and 3 field components for magnetic field. So in total, we have 6 field components. Ex, Ey, Ez and Hx, Hy, Hz. Out of these 6 field components, it is generally considered 2 field components as independent field components. Independent field components. And remaining 4 components are dependent field components. So we have to decide which components are independent and which components are dependent. Generally, since wave is traveling in positive z direction, the components in the direction of wave propagation are considered as independent field components. So you know Ez and Hz are in the direction of wave propagation, so they are independent field components. And remaining 4 components, Ex, Ey, Hx and Hy, are dependent field components. Again, you know that Ez and Hz are in the direction of wave propagation, so those components are called as longitudinal field components. Whether Ex, Ey, Hx, Hy are in the transverse plane, so they are also called as transverse field components. Now try to understand. You are always trying to write down equations for transverse field components. It may be an analysis of a rectangular waveguide or a circular waveguide. You are going to write down the 4 field equations, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So these are the dependent field components, and when you write equations for these 4 field components, they will be in form of independent field components. Means these components will be written in terms of these components. So you have equation of Ex, Ey, Hx and Hy in terms of Ez and Hz. And what they are in general? They are in general E transverse and H transverse. That is what we are doing. Okay. So now we have to write for this. So we will rewrite this equation, which is omega square mu epsilon E transverse, and replace this del square and del square by del z square by gamma square and del by del z by minus gamma. So our equation will become general equation for transverse field components: omega square mu epsilon E transverse plus gamma square E transverse is equal to minus j omega mu del transverse cross hz z now plus del transverse minus gamma Ez. Okay. Now let us rewrite this by taking E transverse common from the left hand side. E transverse omega square mu epsilon plus gamma square is equal to minus j omega mu del transverse cross hz. This minus sign I have taken gamma del transverse. The term which is inside the bracket in left hand side is called as h square. Let us consider this is some h square. Actually, this is the propagation constant in transverse plane, h square. So E transverse is now minus j omega mu h square minus gamma upon h square. Similarly, what you can do, you can go back to the procedure And what we did, we have used H transverse in the equation of E transverse and solved for E transverse. You can just do reverse. You can use E transverse, means equation B, in equation A and solve for H transverse, and following the same process you will obtain for H transverse. So that will be ln upon H square del transverse cross EZZ. This will be replaced by EZ. Omega mu will be replaced by omega epsilon, and the sign will be positive, minus gamma upon H square del transverse H. So these are the general solutions for transverse component of electric and magnetic fields. Now, at this junction, we will try to understand the steps to solve any wave related problem, approach to solve any wave propagation problem. So we have this straightforward approach. First, we have to consider the coordinate system. So what is the coordinate system? That will be decided by a geometry of your waveguide. So take the geometry. If it is let us say rectangular, so the most appropriate coordinate system will be a rectangular coordinate system. If it is a cylindrical waveguide, I mean a circular waveguide, so the most appropriate coordinate system will be a cylindrical coordinate system. So first step to solve a wave propagation problem or analyze a wave propagation problem is that you look at the geometry of your waveguide and select a appropriate coordinate system. So in rectangular coordinate system, x, y, z is the appropriate, and for circular waveguide it will be a cylindrical coordinate system. Second step, find solution for your independent field components. These are Ez or Hz, depending on that. So find solution for Ez or Hz, and then use this solution and put into above equations. What do you mean by above equations? Above equations you have E transverse and H transverse. So determine Ez or Hz and put it into E and H transverse general equations. You will get final 4 field equations. And that is what the analysis of a waveguide, maybe for rectangular or any shape. Okay, so with this understanding, now we will try to conclude this, because we have obtained E transverse and H transverse, but we should obtain the general equations for EXEY and HXHY. So that will wind up our discussion, or that will wind up our general approach. So from this we'll proceed further, but what we will do, we'll try to understand these equations. What is this del transverse cross HZZ? It is actually a curl. This term is a curl. So this is also a curl. And in what plane that resultant vector will lie? The curl will result into some vector, and that will lie into, again, a transverse plane, because you know, in transverse plane. Okay. And this thing, your second term, is gradient. This is also gradient, and that will lie into a transverse plane. That will again lie into a transverse plane. So we'll come to know that how this result will lie into transverse plane. We'll be doing this practice. A small example will be considering. So we know this is a curl, this is also curl, this is gradient, this is gradient. So we'll generally, because these are the general equations, so we'll find the general solution for these terms. So let us consider some general quantity psi. let us consider some general quantity psi, which is a function of x, y, and z, is a function of x, y, and z. And in our case, this psi can be Ez or Hz. So to get the general solution, we have assumed something psi. So psi may be your Ez or psi may be Hz. So del transverse cross psi z, because this is our term, del transverse cross HZZ or del transverse cross EZZ. So psi can be Ez or psi can be Hz, and we have a general term psi, either Ez or Hz. So let us try to obtain the solution for this. So it is x, y, and z. Since this is del transverse, so it has only x and y components. Psi is only z. So the result will be del psi by del y of x. Okay. That z will be 0. Now, let us obtain general solution for gradient del transverse of psi. See here, del transverse of psi. Psi may be Hz or psi may be Ez. So del transverse of psi will be del by del x of x, del psi by del x of x, and del psi by del y of y. Z will be 0. So we have obtained the general solution for curl and gradient. Now you can see, we said that this will be lying into a transverse plane. So it is clear they are lying in transverse plane. Both these curl and gradient are lying in transverse plane. Now our medium is a lossless medium. The medium which we are considering is a lossless medium. So for lossless medium, you know that a propagation constant, which is actually alpha plus j beta, and alpha is attenuation constant. So this alpha is 0 in lossless medium. So the propagation constant gamma will be j beta only. So why we are doing this? Because we can replace this gamma by j beta. In some textbooks, you will find that this is written as j beta. So that is the case. It is alpha plus j beta, and alpha is 0 for lossless medium. Now we can finally write transverse fields. Transverse fields equation. Transverse fields. So first Ex. How do you write for this? You have to use this. You have to use this equation, because this is E transverse, so this will give you Ex and Ey. This is H transverse, it will give you Hx and Hy. So first we'll be writing for E transverse. Let us say Ex. It will be minus j omega mu upon H square. Now next term, del transverse Hzz. So this psi will be Hz. What we have obtained here? So the psi will be Hz, and we are writing for x. We are writing for x component of electric field. So we'll take the result for x only. So that is what del psi by del y of x. Okay. So psi is Hz. So del, this is not required. So del psi is Hz. Del psi by del y. Del Hz by del y. Okay. Minus. See. Again minus. Gamma we are replacing by j beta. J beta over H square. Now del transverse Ez. So psi is what? Ez. And del transverse psi and its x component. So del psi by del x, and psi is Ez. So it will be del Ez by del x. This is how we have written for Ex. Similarly, let us try to write for Ey. Again, same equation will be referring minus j omega mu upon h square del transverse hzz. But this time we are writing for y component of this. So minus j omega mu upon h square, and y component of this result is minus of del psi by del x. Psi is hz, so del hz by del x, and minus sign. So minus minus will be plus del hz by del x. Similarly, minus j beta upon h square, and psi is ez, and its y component. So del ez by del y. So by using same thing, you can write for hx and hy. So hx will be equal to this equation, j omega epsilon upon h square, and psi will be ez. J omega epsilon upon h square del ez by del y minus j beta upon h square del hz by del x, because in this case psi will be hz and here psi will be ez. So we have ez and hz, it's y and x there. And the last hy is minus j omega epsilon upon h square del ez by del x, del ez by del x minus j beta upon h square del hz by del y. So these are the four field equations what we have obtained, and this is the end of generalized approach. Now you will appreciate what we have done since last 1 hour, almost 1 hour, is that now you can mathematically comment on one question. What is that? A rectangular waveguide or a circular waveguide or any bounded, any shape waveguide cannot support TEM mode of propagation. Let us try to understand this. You said that there may be a question, prove that rectangular waveguide do not support a TEM mode of propagation. So this is the answer what we have done, that you have to derive and come to Ex, Ey and Hx, Hy. And let us say, because in the last lecture we have defined TEM means Ez is 0 and Hz is 0. Look at with the keen interest. If you have these four field components and you said that Ez equal to 0 and Hz equal to 0, if you put Ez and Hz 0 in all these equations, what will happen? All these four equations will vanish to 0. Ez 0, Hz 0, Ex, Ey, Hx, Hy 0, everything will be 0. So there is no possibility of wave propagation inside a rectangular or any shape of a bounded structure waveguide. So they are not going to support TEM mode of propagation. And if you remember from our last class, we said that our rectangular, circular or any shape of a waveguide are not going to support TEM mode, which we have proven in today's class. They are going to support either TM mode or TE mode, that is actually a non-TEM mode of propagation. So what is TM and TE mode of propagation and how these waveguides are going to support these modes, that we will discuss in next class. Thank you.